Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a genius.
Mr. Reagan.
Now, I know this has been widely reported already. Everybody's heard about AOC claiming that the uptick in crime in New York City and across the country is due to parents trying to steal bread for their hungry children. But I just had to do a video on this. For those of you who haven't seen it, in an interview recently, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said this completely insane thing. Here it is.
So why is this uptick in crime happening? Well, let's think about it. Do we think this has to do with the fact that there's record unemployment in the United States right now? The fact that people are at a level of economic desperation that we have not seen since the Great Recession? Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent. And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe have to, they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
Now, many people have noted that this is actually the plot of the musical Les Miserables, or as I like to call it, Les Miserables. So maybe she watched that particular musical one too many times. Also, loads of YouTubers have already commented on why AOC's rantings are ridiculous. I'm particularly fond of the Run, Don't Walk video on this, so check that out after this one. And I basically have the same perspective as all of these other people, which is, really? Really? All the murders in Chicago recently, those are all people just trying to feed their kids by stealing bread. No, of course not. You are mental, AOC. Now, she's pretending that the new no bail law in New York has nothing to do with the uptick in crime. She's pretending that releasing gazillions of dangerous prisoners because of coronavirus has nothing to do with this uptick in crime. Well, what about this asshole?
Police say the crook was 31-year-old Rashid Brimage, a registered sex offender with at least 100 arrests for charges ranging from assault to resisting arrest and persistent sexual abuse. Former NYPD Chief Kevin Harrington says Brimage is a case study in why the city's no bail policy needs to be revisited.
When you have a sweeping reform like this, situations like this do allow for a menace like this individual to be on the street. And ultimately, it's the communities that pay the price.
How far will your US dollar go once we tally up the debt accumulated in the fight against coronavirus? How will the government-mandated business shutdowns affect the economy moving forward? My friends, uncertainty is the enemy investors and savers alike need to guard against. Did you know it took nearly 8 years for the markets to recover after the 2008 housing bubble crash? Yet, during the crash of 2008, gold and silver surged to all-time highs. U.S. investors can use this little-known IRS-qualified loophole that allows Americans to buy gold and silver as a tangible asset through their accredited retirement accounts. Give the good guys at Orion Metal Exchange a call to see what you can do to protect your retirement account. Bank of America and Citigroup all see gold soaring, forecast $2,000 and $3,000 an ounce for gold, respectively. Some experts are calling for gold to double in the next year. Call today or request a free investment kit below. Mention the Mr. Reagan YouTube channel and ask for details on how you can qualify for their current IRA account incentives. Call 866-915-5053 and get your free investment guide today. At Orion, you will get more precious metals for your money. And remember to ask about their client-exclusive fee-free buyback policy. A few days ago, I posted a video about radical black racism promoted by the Nation of Islam. Now, this was my response to the Nick Cannon incident. Now, if you haven't watched that video, check that out. That is a very important video. It's actually astonishing to me how racist this cult, the Nation of Islam, actually is. And it's amazing to me that it's infected such a significant portion of black culture in America. Doesn't make any sense to me, but it's a real phenomenon. Please watch that video because it is, I mean, fair warning, it will outrage you, but it needs to be seen. People need to know what's going on there. It's crazy. All right, so here's the thing about the AOC video. Not only does her imagined sympathetic parent stealing food to feed their hungry children narrative not tell the full story of the uptick in crime in America, it doesn't tell the story at all. It actually invents a scenario that never happens. How do I know this? Because of cops. A lot of cops have written in the comments on Twitter. Here is one. This one's from Betsy Brantner Smith, and she's a retired police officer. She writes, "In 29 years, I never arrested a shoplifter who was just trying to feed their child. It is extremely rare." So I looked this up. Statistically speaking, shoplifting of bread registers at precisely 0 incidents. Now, I'm sure there is some, but statistically, you cannot actually find any data on bread shoplifting because it's so unbelievably rare. Now, I'm sure there are some kleptomaniacs who will literally steal anything, and maybe they're going around stealing bread. But I have actually been so poor that I was tempted to steal bread before. I really was. But I didn't do that. Why? Because I'm not a total degenerate. In fact, here are the 22 most commonly shoplifted items in no particular order: cigarettes, energy drinks, high-end liquor, baby formula. Now, if you're a leftist watching this, which is nearly impossible given the restrictions that YouTube has on my channel, but if you are a leftist, before you say, aha, baby formula for the starving children. No. The theft of baby formula is a known problem within law enforcement, but it's not moms stealing baby formula for their children. Like most of the things on this list, baby formula is stolen by professional shoplifters for the black market. Go on Craigslist and type in baby formula. There is a huge black market for this particular good, because it's small, easily concealed, and has a relatively high retail value. This stuff is stolen by career criminals, not moms trying to feed their kids. Next on the list is teeth whitening strips, then pregnancy test, razors, allergy medicine, diabetic testing strips, again stolen for the black market, pain relievers, weight loss pills, jeans, designer clothing, designer handbags, high-end vacuums, high-end appliances, food mixers, children's electronic toys, laundry detergent. I don't know what that's all about. GPS devices, laptops and tablets, digital cameras, and cell phones. None of these things are to feed hungry children, AOC. They're stolen to fatten the wallets of career criminals. Just after AOC tweeted this insane rant, these videos came out of peaceful protesters stealing bread.
Sweetheart, is this your car? Did you leave your car to go get some sneakers? What did you get? At least show me what you got. Show me what you got since you left your car. Hold on, let's see. Let's see what you got here. Let's see. Let's see what you got. You left your car in traffic, ma. You got right? You good? That's what I'm talking about.
Fuck yeah.
So by bread, maybe AOC meant fat stacks of cash, because the merchandise these a-holes are stealing would feed a starving child for years. Now, I'm not sure how much a stolen Rolex retails for on the black market, but I imagine it's not bad. Sadly, I doubt any of the children of these dudes stealing Rolexes here are going to see a dime of that ill-gotten bread. I doubt these guys have ever or will ever pay any of their overdue child support.
You are the father.
I actually think a lot of this insanity is because AOC no longer has Saikat Chakrabarti scripting her interviews and speeches, and Zach Exley, the mastermind of her original rise to power, has abandoned her as well. I mean, I don't know if these guys left to do their own thing or if she started to try to assert her dominance or something like that. I don't know the inter-office politics inside her little socialist cadre. But what I do know is that she's on her own now. And one thing that I always found amusing about her public persona is that she was bifurcated. On the one hand, she seemed to have a detailed knowledge of American history, specifically with regard to ethnic issues. She would often reference race stuff that I never heard about, but then she'd get the numbers on these things wrong or little details. So it was clear that she was being fed these talking points and could never get them exactly right. Meanwhile, when she was in an off-the-cuff interaction, an interview where she didn't expect a question, for instance, she would be flummoxed. She'd have no idea how to answer the question intelligently or at all. Now, without her coaches, she's flummoxed all the time. She never knows what to say, and that, I think, is why we're not hearing from her so much. And every time we do hear something from her, it's something insane like this. She has no idea what the facts are. She's just expressing some kind of bizarre theory that she has about the rise in crime in order to counter the Republican narrative that the prison release and the no bail policies have both been devastating in New York City. The defunding of police in Democrat-controlled cities will be even more devastating. But the truth is, that's what Marxists want. They want cities to be devastated. That's the plan. Level the cities. And then the people will be so desperate for change, they'll actually elect Marxists into power who will dismantle our constitutional republic and supplant it with a new Marxist regime. Fortunately, this will never happen because there are too many patriotic Americans who are willing to fight and die for this great country. So the AOCs of the world are really just wasting their time. It's sad because I do think that AOC means well. I think that she is a true believer. I think she really does want to help the world. And as much as we ridicule her and recognize her utter idiocy, I think we should also appreciate that at least she cares. She's just too stupid to realize that what she's promoting is utterly destructive. Nancy Pelosi, on the other hand, does understand this, but she cares so much about holding on to her power that she's willing to destroy the country for her own selfish ends. Pelosi, Schumer, Schiff, Maxine Waters, Hillary Clinton, etc. These monsters are the true villains in this story. AOC, she is just a useful idiot. Well, useful. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant, it's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.
We have so many people who can't see a fat man standing beside a thin one without coming to the conclusion the fat man got that way by taking advantage of the thin one. The trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so.